Ready to start constructing the blueprint of your career goals as a general contractor and make your dreams a reality? Let's discuss one of the most important items you will need in your tool belt, your license to operate as a general contractor in North Carolina. Much like the professional fields of real estate brokerage and mortgage loan origination, conducting business as a general contractor in North Carolina requires that you be licensed with the North Carolina Licensing Board for General Contractors, or NCLBGC. But what types of licenses are there? NCLBGC licenses are sorted and determined by limitations and classifications. Let's start with defining limitations and classifications. Limitations determine the dollar amount of the projects you may undertake. For example, if you receive a bid for $1 million project, but your license limitation is $500,000, you will not be able to legally take on that project. Classification determines the type of work that you are licensed to complete. For example, if you receive a bid for a residential project, but your license classification is for public utilities, you will not be able to legally agree to complete that project. Let's go through the details of the license limitation categories and the application fee required for each. A limited license will allow contractors to accept individual projects that are less than or up to $500,000. If you submit your application for approval for a limited license, the application fee is $75. An intermediate license permits contractors to take on individual projects that are less than or up to $1 million. If your application is submitted for approval of an intermediate license, an application fee of $100 will apply. Finally, an unlimited license is just that. There is no limit to the dollar amount for the projects you may undertake. If you are seeking an unlimited license, you will have an application fee of $125. All application fees must be paid online through the NCLBGC website at the time of submission, or your application will not be processed. Now that we have reviewed and defined the license limitation categories, let's discuss the types of license classifications. As we learned a few moments ago, classifications define the type of construction you can legally do. The first type of classification is a building contractor. This is a very broad classification covering commercial, industrial, institutional, and residential construction and demolition. This classification covers everything from grading pavement to building recreational facilities. Next is residential contracting. As the name implies, this is a much more specialized classification for a general contractor that completes residential construction and demolition projects only. This license can cover work from building residential wastewater systems to residential buildings. That brings us to highways. As a contractor with a highway license classification, it covers all highway construction activity like paving, bridge construction and repair, and airfield runways. Next is a license as a public utilities contractor. This licensure allows for work on water and wastewater systems. Tasks associated with this license include tunneling, electrical work, and water purification and sewage disposal. Finally, we have specialty contracting. This final classification covers all manner of construction that is defined as contact work. Contact work covers the digging, moving, and placing of materials on the surface of the earth, excluding air and water. Contact work describes any jobs that require earth to be cut, filled, excavated, graded, trenched, backfilled, or any similar job that uses hand and power tools and machines, such as bulldozers and dump trucks, that are used for digging, moving, and placing materials. It covers work on earthen dams and the use of explosives, and also includes clearing and grubbing and erosion control activities. Now that we have defined the types of license available to you, let's go over the process for obtaining a license. First, you will of course need to complete and submit the NCLBGC license application form along with all required documentation and fees associated with the application. Next, you will need to complete your licensing exams. Here you have the option of taking the NASCLA and North Carolina Business Law exams, or completing the North Carolina Builders exams specific to your desired licensure along with the North Carolina Business Law exam. It is important to note, you will need your state-issued identification number when scheduling your exams. You will have 120 days from the date of your identification letter to take your exams. If you do not complete and pass your exams within this time frame, you will need to complete and resubmit your updated application and all associated fees. Congratulations! Now that you have your license, what will you need to do to renew it to make sure that it is current and active? All licenses expire on January 1st each year and become invalid 60 days after expiration. The license renewal process begins in October of each year. There is a $10 per month penalty fee required for any renewal applications filed on or after January 1st of each year. New licenses will continue to be issued in the month of December unless it is explicitly requested the new license issuance be held until January. Licenses issued in December are required to renew the license for the following year. In addition to making sure to file your license renewal on time, you will need to meet annual continuing education requirements. Let's watch the video to learn more.
In addition to making sure to file your license renewal on time, you will also need to complete 8 total hours of continuing education courses each year. These 8 hours consist of a 2-hour mandatory update class and 6 hours of continuing education elective courses, all of which can be completed with Skyline School. Additionally, you may accumulate up to 4 hours of elective course credit and roll them over into the next calendar year. And if you find that you really enjoyed a particular elective class, you are permitted to take it again the following year for credit. Just like license renewal, your continuing education requirement must be completed before the deadline. Continuing education requirements for general contractors start on January 1st of every calendar year and must be completed by November 30th of that same year. The NCLBGC allows for a 90-day grace period if you are not able to complete your continuing education requirements by November 30th. It is important to note that no schools are permitted to offer continuing education courses for general contractors in the month of December. Such being the case, though you do have a 90-day grace period, you will actually only have 60 days where classes are permitted. Be sure to plan accordingly or avoid this situation altogether by completing your CE on time by November 30th. However, failure to complete the requirements beyond the grace period will result in your license being deactivated until you are able to meet all that is required to reactivate your license. This will include completing additional continuing education hours in order to become active and current.
As you can see, your license is an integral foundation for your career as a general contractor in North Carolina. You will need to consider your goals for license limitations and classifications, and plan your license renewal and continuing education requirements. And Skyline School is here to help, with course offerings to fulfill all of your continuing education needs. We are here to help ensure that your continuing education requirements are met year after year. We look forward to working with you to keep your license active.